You walk through the door after a long day, and within 40 seconds, your toddler is on the floor screaming because you poured the water into the wrong cup. You didn't pour it wrong yesterday. You didn't pour it wrong this morning when your partner did it. But you did it, so now the world is ending. And somewhere between picking up the cup and trying to breathe through your nose, you think the thought that every parent secretly thinks: why does this only happen with me? Why does my child save the absolute worst of themselves for the one person who loves them the most? Your partner picks them up from daycare and it's sunshine and giggles. Grandma comes over and the kid is practically performing for an audience. But you, the one who hasn't slept a full night in 2 years, the one who gave up your career, your body, your peace of mind, the one who literally grew this child inside you or stayed up rocking them through every fever and every nightmare. You are the one getting the meltdowns, the hitting, the pushing away, the screaming that doesn't stop even when you do everything right. And it doesn't just exhaust you. It breaks something in you. Because if your child is saving their worst behavior for you, what does that mean about you as a parent? What does it mean about your relationship? Most parents assume it means something is wrong, that maybe the bond is damaged, that maybe you're doing something that your partner isn't, that maybe they love you a little less. I need you to hear this right now. That assumption is completely wrong. And by the end of this video, what you're about to understand is going to change the way you see every single meltdown your child ever throws at you again. Let's slow down and talk about what is actually happening inside your toddler's brain, because this is where everything starts to make sense. Your child is between 1 and 3 years old. Their prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain responsible for logic, impulse control, emotional regulation, and rational decision-making, is essentially offline. Not partially developed, not underdeveloped. It is functionally offline in the way that a program hasn't been installed yet on a new computer. The prefrontal cortex won't be significantly operational until around age 7, and it won't be fully mature until your child is in their mid-20s. That means when your toddler is melting down on the supermarket floor over a broken cracker, they are not being dramatic. They are not manipulating you. They are not acting out because of something you did. They are operating from the deepest, most primitive part of their brain, the amygdala, which processes threat, fear, and overwhelming emotion. And it is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It is flooding their entire system with distress signals because their nervous system does not yet have the architecture to contain what they feel. Now here's the question I want you to sit with and drop in the comments below. When you think back to your child's last big meltdown, what was the first emotion you felt as a parent? Was it frustration, shame, fear, something else? Because I promise you, your answer matters more than you think, and I'll get to why in just a moment. So now that you understand the architecture, let's talk about the phenomenon you're actually experiencing, because there is a name for it, and there is a reason for it, and it has nothing to do with you being a worse parent. Researchers and developmental psychologists call it the safe haven effect. Some call it proximity protest. But here is the way I want you to think about it. Imagine you are at work and you are having the worst day of your life. The project failed, your boss humiliated you, everything went wrong. Now imagine that you have 2 places to go at the end of that day. Option 1 is a hotel room where no one knows you and no one expects anything from you. Option 2 is your home, with the person who loves you most in the world, who has always been your safe place, who you trust completely. Where do you finally fall apart? You fall apart at home. You fall apart in front of the person you trust. You hold it together everywhere else because everywhere else is not safe enough to let the walls down. Your toddler is doing the exact same thing, except they don't have the cognitive ability to consciously choose it. It is biological. It is automatic. It is wired into their nervous system from birth. You are their home. You are the nervous system they co-regulated with from the very first days of their life. You are the person their brain recognizes as the place where it is safe to feel everything, to release everything, to fall apart completely, because falling apart with you has never, not once, resulted in abandonment. That scream in the middle of the kitchen, that throw of the toy, that complete dysregulation over absolutely nothing. That is not a child who trusts you less. That is a child whose nervous system has decided you are the safest person on the planet. And I want to stop here and be honest with you about something, because I know what most parents do with this information. They hear it, they feel a tiny wave of relief, and then the next meltdown hits and they're right back in the middle of it thinking, but why can't they just hold it together for 5 minutes? Because here's the thing about the safe haven effect that nobody talks about. It doesn't just mean your child melts down in front of you. It means their nervous system is doing something far more sophisticated than it looks. When your toddler is calm at daycare and then falls apart the second they see your face at pickup, that transition is not a rejection. That is a release. Their brain has been running a background program all day called, hold it together, I don't feel safe enough yet to let this out. And the second they see you, that program shuts off. The second they see your face, your smell, your voice, the specific way you hold them, their amygdala receives a signal that says, home, safe, release. And everything they were containing all day, every frustration and transition and moment of confusion, it all comes out immediately. And it comes out on you. Because their brain has decided that you are the one person in the world they trust enough to survive seeing them at their worst. Traditional parenting culture tells us that this behavior is a sign of disrespect, that it means the child has no discipline, that you need to come down harder, set firmer limits, stop letting them walk all over you. And I want to challenge that with everything I understand about developmental neuroscience. Because when you respond to a dysregulated toddler with punishment, what you are actually doing is communicating to their amygdala that the safest place was wrong to trust. You are training them to contain their emotions rather than process them. And children who are trained to contain rather than process don't become well-regulated adults. They become adults who have panic attacks in parking lots, adults who dissociate under pressure, adults who don't know why they feel so much but can never say what they actually feel. What looks like a child who is out of control is actually a child whose attachment system is working exactly the way it was designed to. What looks like misbehavior is a developmental process that requires a regulated co-regulator, which is you, to help them complete the cycle. And that is where it gets hard. Because you cannot co-regulate a dysregulated child from your own dysregulation. And most parents are dysregulated before the meltdown even starts. Now, If everything I just explained resonated with you, I need to tell you something important. Because understanding your toddler's brain is only half the equation. The other half is what happens inside your nervous system when the meltdown starts. Most parents I talk to say the same thing. I know what to do. I just can't do it when it's actually happening. That's not a willpower problem. That's a sequencing problem. And nobody has ever given you the right tool in the right order for the right moment. I wrote the reset cycle specifically for that gap. It's not another gentle parenting theory. It's a 3-step biological system: regulate, break, repair, built for the real conditions of your life. The 7 a.m. meltdown, the supermarket floor, the moment after you already yelled. It works before the crisis, after the explosion, and in the hours that follow. The link is in the description. And if there's one thing you take away from this video today, take that. Now let me bring this back to you, because you came here for a reason. You are watching this video because something about your child's behavior is confusing you, or scaring you, or wearing you down in a way you didn't expect. And I want you to hear something that I mean completely. The fact that your child falls apart the most with you is not evidence of your failure. It is evidence of your success. It is evidence that somewhere in the earliest days of their life, they learned that you were safe. They learned that you would stay. They learned that no matter how big the feeling got, you would not disappear. That is attachment. That is the thing that developmental psychologists have been studying for decades as the single greatest predictor of emotional health, resilience, and secure adult relationships. Your child is not punishing you. They are trusting you with the most vulnerable version of themselves because you taught them that it was okay to do that. And yes, it is exhausting. And yes, you are allowed to feel how hard it is. And yes, there will be days when you are not the regulated co-regulator they need, because you are also a human being whose nervous system is also overwhelmed. None of this means you are broken. None of this means the relationship is damaged. It means you are in the middle of one of the most neurologically demanding experiences a human can go through, which is raising another human's brain during the most critical window of its development. You are doing that. You are showing up every single day. And the fact that your child saves their realist self for you is the clearest possible evidence that you are doing it right. If this video gave you something to hold on to, make sure you subscribe, because this channel exists to translate what your toddler cannot say in words. Every video here is built around the same question. What is actually happening inside that small, chaotic, beautiful brain? And what do you actually need to know about it? You don't have to figure this out alone. You don't have to survive this phase in the dark. Come back. Watch the next one. Bring your questions to the comments. I'll be here.